Washington State. And it looks like I'm picking up onions here. I gotta slide my axles back. But I got a door already. I got door 5. Looks like they got a little scale there. That's good. I want to make sure it's set for 50 degrees continuous. Just with the clean trailer, of course. This utility is a little harder on this. Unlocking these doors on the side. But normally it's apples here. But on this side they grow onions. You'd think it'd be in Oregon, but they got it in Washington too. But this is all fields here in west central Washington State. It's all just fields here. When you go over the mountains, this is all you see in Washington. Everything all wooded and all that's over by Seattle on the west side. Come over here, this is all it is. So if they're complaining about our food, it's all here. We got enough. So it's never ending. But it looks pretty good. I gotta set this for continuous. Continuous. So this reefer will stay on till I get emptied in Milwaukee. Well, let's go to door 5. I'm at the loading dock here. Gotta slide your axles all the way back. One thing you want to do is always check these springs, make sure they're not broken. When they get old, they'll break and they'll start dragging on the ground. And you gotta check and see if you're square, making sure that you hit the dock centered. And sometimes you gotta chalk your wheels, but it doesn't look like you have to do it here. Chrome trims are looking good. Oh, it looks like they're loading me already. I just hit the dock now. It's all about in and out. When I'm done here, I'll be taking this to Milwaukee. And that takes, well, legally it's about 3 days. It's about 2.5 days. But as you can see how good you are when you're squared. And it hits the dock, you try to keep it centered. Now that's square. They don't have the dock locks on yet. You can see where it's going. That's neat, they're loading me already. Those are the onions. Smells like onions here. Dirty truck. Went through some rain going in the mountains, but I timed it pretty good. And these are the big onion trucks here. They take them right out of the fields. It's a lot of weight. You got triple axles in the back. You got them in these crates. I really want to see the scale, see if it's working. And that saves from stopping at a truck stop. They wanted a half a tank of fuel, so I'll be running about 80,000 pounds. You gotta watch your fuel levels when you cross the scale. Well, this is never-ending business. This whole field's all for onions. That's neat. I used to get onions in Oregon all the time, right at Nissa, right in the border of Idaho and Oregon. You cross that border. But in Seattle, I used to come here with mail. It was bulk mail. The BMC centers, Farrington mail, is all catalogs and all that. And I'd take that to Seattle, and I brought apples back. But that's seasonal. I want to see if this is open. Looks like a scale. But they wanted a lightweight. I asked if I can use their scale, and they didn't say anything. But sometimes it's usable. It's got a little loop around here to go on here, but might be for their other trucks. Looks like this guy's got a big problem on his axles. Damn. Looks like he lost the whole tire. That's too bad. It walked right out. I had that problem in Ugalala. Yeah, this is a full scale here. It's not just a little one where you go to axles. Sometimes they got a little reading on the side. And that's inside. Yeah, oh, they do have a little reading here. Great. I'll use that. It's on set for 200. So that's 200 pounds of dirt. Oh, it works. Look at that. Let's see how much I weigh. 220 pounds with my clothes on. But all this mud here is 200 pounds. It's pretty accurate. That looks pretty good. Yeah, 200 off. But look how we are here. When you look at all the woods in Seattle coming in, how mountainous it is, and what they call Bigfoot country. But And you come over here and it's just pretty well out in nowhere land. It's all big farm fields for miles. And it's all about onions, it looks like. I don't see any apple orchards. And this one here looks like they're all ready to go. Temperature's about 55 degrees outside. Alright, I'll use this scale. Looks like it's working. It's good to walk around and see how everything works the first time. Old Sterling. The Ford's pretty well. That's what this is, Sterling and a Ford. That's their medium-sized trucks. And they had Aurora too. Wow, this guy really messed up. This is the same problem I had in Ogallala, Nebraska, where it walked out and fell right on top of it. But yeah, the whole axle has to get replaced. I learned that one. And it's on the front, it's the same situation. And that's too bad. Yeah, that's a lot of money right there, replacing that whole axle. Bearings and everything came out. This just walks right off of it. That's too bad. I hope they got more trucks than that. There's one over there, it looks like they're going in and out from the fields. Looks like they dry them right there. A little windy, I hope you guys can still hear me. Look at white onions, looks like red on there. The yellow is on the neck of the other one, 19. But this trailer over here looks like they got mixed. That's sort of neat. So they got yellow, white, and red onions. But it's pretty easy. You're out here in nowhere land to find this place. It's off the beaten path. I know it's the state of Washington, the speed limit is 60 miles an hour, and California is 55. Everywhere else is 70 to 75 miles an hour. Wyoming, that's 80 miles an hour. There's parts in Utah, it's 80. Well, this is it. This is the big onion place. So if all of you don't know where the onions come from, well, Washington State and Oregon does all this for you guys. It's nothing to do with overseas. Well, that's good. It says authorized personnel only, so you can't really do anything. You just gotta stay in your truck. I want to peek in there and see how they're doing. I can't really cut this load, so that's why they wanted a half a tank or less. And then once you get your load, I'll weigh this and shoot over 90 to Wyoming by the Indian reservation. So it'll be Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and then South Dakota. Looks like white onions. They bring them in 2 pallets. That's neat. See how I set up my load locks on the side so they don't get run over. Still got my tattletale on there from the last run. That was alright. That was in Auburn when I dropped off. And that was in Safeway in Auburn, Washington, frozen. But when they're all done, they probably call you or come out, probably. Well, with electronic logs, normally I'm doing my log books and figuring it all out and where I'm going to go. But I got an ag exempt on this one, and that's a 150-mile radius. So after Spokane, Washington, I'll get on the logs. But the truck's a little dirty, but it still looks pretty good. And this trim here is holding up pretty good. I always want to watch those corners. At least this side here is holding up, the other side didn't. That's a big back order in Freightliner dealership. It's going to be a while for them to get one for my truck on the driver's side. I'm glad I dressed all this plastic. It stays pretty well black. Oh, look at that. They did put it on. Hey. They surprised me. Hey, that's nice of them to do that. Alright, that's a good surprise. They put the plastic on there. Wonder when they did that one. Last week it was off. That's really nice. Yeah, that's for outdoor temperature sensor. How come we're here to show you that's still off and they put it on? Wow. Thumbs up on the mechanics side. That's Jacob. Jacob's a good guy. He works every day there. Just he has too much work. They keep him busy there. But Jacob, thumbs up on you. You surprised me. All the way to Washington, you come out here and then I notice his work. Alright, so Jacob has my back. That's really nice of him to do that. That makes me smile. That was off. He went ahead and he told me it would be back ordered in Freightliner, and all of a sudden I see one on my truck. That's really great. So I got the equipment back to par. I hate it when I'm missing things. But that's sharp. Now what to do is dress that side. I got this real nice dressing I'll show you guys. There'll be another video. And it's mainly for trim on the outside, and it's not greasy. That's why it's all oily and stuff. It collects too much dust, but it's the stuff that really brings this plastic to original when you first bought it. And I got this really good stuff, and McGuire brings it out back to black, it's called. And it's a glossy kind of look, and I'm going to put that on. And I bought some paint too, some silver paint, and I'll make a video on that. And that's all about touching up all these rock marks and everything that you hit here. It goes right down to primer. It's a black primer that you can see on this. And it's plastic, but I'll touch all that up, show you how to do that, and how to wax that too, because you have to put a wax coating on it, and with a little bit of compound in there, so the wax itself will take the touch-up off of the paint, but on the primer, and then that wax coating itself will protect more hits and the touch-up paint that you put. But you can see these black dots here. That's rocks hitting that. That's too bad. And that's the big projects I'm gonna do, is go ahead and dress it. But Jacob, I tell you, thumbs up on you. He's head of mechanics in the shop at Pine Hill, and damn, that's really nice of him to do that. I really thought that it was off. I should be more aware of my walk-arounds. Make sure the fuel is good. Probably about 3/4. No, it's about half a tank now, so that's still good for weight. You know, it's 7.8 pounds a gallon. So that's exactly it. It's not 8 pounds. It's 7.8 pounds a gallon of fuel. So you got to really regulate that. And these are 50-gallon tanks, so it's half. So it's 25 gallons. You times that by 7.8, and it tells you how much weight. So you're right on the 80,000. You got to really watch yourself when you go across scales, and really add that up. So 7.8, 780 pounds for 100 gallons. So you can see that kind of calculation of you as a load master to make sure that you calculate your weight good. If the reefer tank's at half, that's taking 25 gallons off, and you times that by 7.8 pounds a gallon, and you can see where you can really look at being overweight. Another part is a catch of being overweight, and didn't dawn on you, is the snow that you collect. And that's usually about, I guess, of 250 up to 1,000 pounds, especially if it's really icy. but this light has to be replaced. It's still doing pretty good. And I went through rain, but I don't want this short out. It's all plastic. There was a plastic cover on that. And that's the only thing wrong with this trailer. It's actually a beautiful trailer. I really like this polished handles here. And they're not really chrome. It's just a stainless polish. But that's beautiful. They put really their heart on it. This is a good trailer. Especially if you're going to go ahead and sell it or trade it, or anybody will grab this one. And it's straight, there's no wrinkles, nobody's gashed it, and that's really nice. This is really a good one. All I have to do is get that light replaced, and it just barely hit that. It didn't touch anything on here, even though it's got these guards. That's really good to have. It's slick. I like the black skirts better than the white. That looks really sharp. But this is my first utility in this company to be pulling. Main thing about utilities is that you can't be backing in the load-in knock really fast. They wrinkle. I've seen the other ones slam in there, and you got rookie drivers backing in hard. And all the trailers are good except for utility. They will buckle. And the whole side, all the way up, you'll see it'll fold and it'll buckle because you hit the loading dock too fast. That's the only drawback about utilities I don't like. And they center their their handles on the door, and that's always been a really awkward thing I've seen with utilities, is that instead of having 3 handles, they went ahead and just did 2, and they put one directly in the middle to have more support on holding the door in. And doing that, they offset the lights on the top, the clearance lights. It always looks funny up there. It's better to have 2 on one and 1 on the other, just to make it go across evenly. But brand new with the utility clearance lights, the 3 on the top, it's always offset because they centered the handle. And they did that because the door handles, they have 4, and utility always had 3. They centered that just to hold that so it doesn't pop. And that's with loads that were just against the door. But we really don't have that problem anymore because that was 48-footers. The 53s are much different, but utility still has a style to centering that the handle. But usually it's red light, and once it turns green, then I'm ready to go. But he didn't lock it, so I'm just going to wait. It's all about hurry up and wait, and it looks like a truck's already on this scale, so that's the right way to go. You should go the other way, that way you can see the weight in the scale house. Well, that's a good way to go. They asked for a lightweight, and he's going to axle it. But driving the other way, you can see you can do 1 axle at a time. I'll go ahead and film it when I leave, and you'll see how that works. But it's nice to have that out there, but he needs to understand it's 200 pounds off. Alright, I got a load of onions. Here's the time where I use my magnet stop. But this is replacing the cheater bar as the magnet stop here. And you'll see it's pretty neat. It's got a little magnet there to hold it in. But every hole here is 400 pounds. I usually, with onions, potatoes, anything about 80,000 pounds, I start about 5 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll stop on the 5th hole. That's pretty well what I got here. And then I'll slide it to here, and then I'll go across the scale and see how that works. But I gotta pull the trailer brakes here. Set for 50 degrees. The books say 45, but the customer wants it at 50 degrees continuous. But pulling the trailer brakes, you got enough air, and it sucks the pins in. But I'll have a load of potatoes here, as you can see. Onions, excuse me. But when it comes to onions, I used to have a lot of load locks to make sure I could get across country without any problems. With airbags, air ride suspensions, much easier now. But we used to have to put boards and extra load locks and all that in here. But you want to check your freight. Make sure this stuff doesn't fall. But it looks like I got a mix of all different onions here. That's good. This is Prosser, Washington. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But I got white onions, yellow onions, these red onions. Looks like they got it good. You really want to look and see how they load it, how many singles they have in the middle, and that way you can really eyeball this loadmaster that loaded this. And because of produce, we have to take a picture of this, and a temperature too. It's real important. You can pulp it or use the electronic, and I have the electronic one. I want to see how the temperature is on this. It's supposed to be set for 50, so we'll see what the product is. These are laser beam kind of stuff where you just point to the product. This is set for 50, 50.8 is this one here. And I'll take a picture of that. And that way we're good on our side when it comes down to taking pictures of how it's loaded and the temperature itself on it. But I want to make sure I do that again. I'll put load locks on here. But I gotta get this phone, the battery fell out. That loaded there while I'm doing load locks. Tie my shoe here. Alright. Looks like I have a tattletale on here. They call them Ryans, or temperature recorder. We call them tattletales. That's what these are. Actually fax paper with a battery in there, and it rolls it, and there's a thermometer in there, that spring, and it actually scratches a line on the paper, and that's a temperature line. But they only give you 2 load locks. The first one you should always put vertical to hold this, and they're all pretty tight. And that way, everything's tight, rubbing against each other, holding it. And your last one's going to be the one that's going to be really sloppy. It's not against anything on the back end. So you put a load lock on that. But I want to make sure I do my horizontal good. But they only give you 2 load locks, so you do 1 vertical, 1 horizontal. That way the back is really tight. Try to get another teeth in there. Alright. And that's how you secure your load, with the vertical that holds it from sliding, and then that holds the rest of the load. And your horizontal that'll keep this locked. That's the right way to go. Now we gotta take pictures of this. Hope I didn't make any problems here. Alright. But 2 pictures, one's with the temperature and the product itself, is what they need on these produce backhauls. But let's see if I can get that temperature again. This is 44.9, that's pretty neat. So the whites are colder, already 44, 45 it looks like. And the reds are warmer. 48. That's for the red. Alright. Once you take a picture of your temperature, and then they want you to take a picture of the product to load in the trailer. I take 2 of them. I try to get the top where it shows all the way down. In the back, show that we secured everything. And that should do it, and I'll email all that. But that's our procedure with this company, is to take pictures of their product and the temperature for produce. It's really important. Alright, I should be far away where this guy won't be aggravated, but that was my door 5. But it's never ending here, it looks like. They just keep loading more trucks, get them out of here, and take them to the stores. So all of you eat onions. But I'm taking this one to Milwaukee. Once I weigh it, slide these axles and then weigh it, and then I'll check out really. And then I'll get a seal, sign the bills, and then go ahead and see how many pounds I have to slide this. It's 400 pounds a hole when it comes to trailers. But I'm going to go all the way to my magnet stop. That's 5 holes. Usually about 5-6 holes is what you're showing when you got this much weight. I notice it's more in the front, so we'll see how it works out. Also, this load, I took 1,200 pounds off. So I get to slide these axles all the way up. They got me a door over here, an open dock. It got really busy. Looks like it goes, it's in a bind. When it's in a bind like that, you gotta pull forward. Well, at least I can take my pictures here. But they took a half of this pallet. It's 2,000 pounds of pallet. But I took about 1,260 pounds, I believe, off, or 1,250. So it should be good now. Should be right at 80,000. I was away 8160, but the scale was 200 pounds off. Make sure I take a good picture of this. Alright. Bit of vertical. Alright, everything's good there. And then they always want to see the progress of everything before we shut the doors. We have to pull forward. There's times where it's cocked, it's not straight, so you gotta go to an area where you can shut the doors. It's a big box and it leans around. Sometimes you have to drive pretty far just to get off of that bind. Well, at least I can slide my axles. Alright. Should be able to shut my doors now. I put the tractor on the pad here. Yeah, that worked out. You always want to check on the top, make sure that's latched. But when it comes to onions, carrots, and potatoes, this is the kind of process you have to do. And you really want to put the whole order on, but I was under a half on tractor, under a half on reefer. But you always want to check the top, make sure they're latched, because if you put the seal on there, you're committed. Make sure the pins are in. Yep, they're in, they're locked. This slid all the way up. Figuring they took 1,200 pounds off, so it should be right on. my bills. Worried about those airbags. I might take it to the Freightliner dealership when I get a couple days off. It looks like Tuesday, Wednesday would be a good time. But as you can see, when you slide the axles, you have to subtract your drives and your trailer, and now you get your drives. And subtracting the total weight and the trailer, or the last weight, and that was the steering and drives, and you subtract it with 80,000, or the total weight. And I have 34,260 on the trailer with the slit all the way up. So you want to commit yourself. Now the seal's on, I can't move anything now. But the scale was 200 pounds off, so I'm only 34,060, so 60 pounds over. That's pretty good. When you stop and all that, things will start moving forward. The only thing you worry about is weight when it comes down to your snow, when you're picking anything up, and I should be good going across. But other than that, you want to check everything out. I'm ready to hit the road and get into traffic, get my 11 hours. Right now I'm on egg for 100. I want to make sure they were alright on the height. But you only get 150 mile radius, so I get to go all the way to Spokane, Washington. I can go off the egg exempt, and then that'll get me started to go to Milwaukee. I have to be there Monday morning at 7 o'clock, so I should be pretty good. These tires look really nice. But I'm slid all the way up. I can't go anymore. Anything else, you're picking up the weight inside and moving it forward. That's 50 pounds a bag. But my reefer's right at half a tank. Tractor's at half a tank, so that's 80,060 pounds. Let me see, let me make sure that was that right, if I wrote it down right. 80,080 pounds. So that's it. So 7.8 pounds a gallon. So you can see when you burn about 10 gallons. About 11 gallons really, and then I'm right at 80,000 even. So that's how you do it when it comes to Loadmaster. And you think you're just a driver, but you have to do a lot of calculations when it comes to 12,000 pounds of steering, 34,000 for the drives, and trailer is 34,000. Adding it together is 80,000 pounds. That's how they do it, these 18-wheelers, and that way you understand how delicate the buyers buy stuff and what they want when it comes to equipment. And you can see a lot of people put weight on their trucks, but a good running truck like this is pretty light. The way they have the technology, it used to be much heavier long ago, and that way we can carry more weight, and it works out pretty good. So with that, I'll see you on the road. I hope I don't have too many storms. It looks like it should be good. But this is Washington, and you can see it's a much different look when it comes to the woods coming into Seattle. But this is how it is in Oregon and Idaho, southern Idaho, and Washington. It's just flat sagebrush or fields like this that grow onions, and orchards that grow apples here in Washington. It really provides so much when it comes to produce for the United States. Thank you so much for your time.